The Super Mario 64 Iceberg chart would be an unironic historic piece of the internet, being one of the first iceberg charts ever made to reach a major popularity. This was mainly due to this video by the homeboy Mish Cause, who would create the first ever iceberg chart explanation video on YouTube, creating an entire genre on the site of iceberg explanation videos. So I thought it would be fun to honor this historic chart by throwing my hat in the ring and make my own Mario 64 iceberg chart explanation video. Mario 64 is one of the most important video games ever made for it being the first ever playable, fully 3D video game ever made. With the game's revolutionary design, it led to a lot of strange little quirks and oddities, going from its liminal space aesthetic to just whatever this could possibly be. I can guarantee you that you will learn something new today when watching this video about this cheeky little game that was made in 1996. So sit back and relax, my cheeky little good boys, as I walk you through my version of the Super Mario 64 iceberg chart. L is Real 2401. I'll keep this one quick, don't worry. L is Real 2401 is one of the most famous and well-known gaming myths of all time. There is a rumor that you can unlock Luigi in Super Mario 64, and the frontrunner of this theory is this statue in the castle's courtyard that some claims to read L is Real 2401. Fans reached the conclusion that this was a hint to unlocking Luigi, however, this obviously was just a hoax. But there was more to it that actually is nuts. It later turned out to kind of be real, sort of. Exactly 24 years and 1 month after the game was originally released, a massive Giga leak from Nintendo was spread online. This included massive amounts of data for Luigi in Super Mario 64, such as his character model. L is Real 2401 was true all along. Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret. I will think of any excuse I can to talk about this because this is my favorite lost media case ever. I think I've talked about this 3 times now. Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret is an infamous jump scare screamer video uploaded to YouTube in 2007 by user LotusMan17. The video itself is a tutorial for unlocking Luigi in the game, but right at the end, a jump scare plays instead. Massive Discord servers and manhunts came together to find any piece of this deleted and lost video, until it was announced that the first ever 45 seconds of the video had been found. But to this day, the full video is still lost. The Impossible Goomba. In the final Bowser stage, Bowser in the Sky, it was discovered that on this platform right here, the game lists 3 Goombas that are intended to spawn here. However, there's clearly only 2. This is actually because of a mistake with the development of the game, where the 3rd Goomba was accidentally set to spawn over the edge of the platform, and thus, when you enter the level, the Goomba immediately falls to his death before you even have the chance to come near him. Bob-omb Battlefield Bridge. I'm honestly not too sure if this is a glitch or an intentional just little Easter egg fun fact thing, but for absolutely no reason whatsoever, the bridge in Bob-omb Battlefield can be climbed onto and traversed like monkey bars. I haven't, this serves absolutely no purpose. I don't even know why this is the thing. Womb's Fortress 1-up. After defeating the Womp King in Womb's Fortress, a castle appears on the top of the stage. But without any hints or clues to lead you to discover this, punching this random wall will just reveal a secret 1-up. I can't imagine the just insane feeling that the first guy to discover this got. 2-player. Mario 64 was originally intended to have a 2-player mode in the game that featured Luigi, coining back to Luigi being discovered in the Giga Leak. But this entire mechanic was scrapped from the game, most likely due to hardware restraints or maybe even just time. Then, in 1999, it was planned that Nintendo would create a Super Mario 64 2 for the canceled N64 disk drive that featured multiplayer as the main focus. This obviously was also canned, and the entire 2-player side of Mario 64 64 would never officially be made by Nintendo. Super Mario 128. A different pseudo-sequel to Mario 64 was also in the works for the Nintendo GameCube. A demo was revealed at a Space World convention for a Super Mario 128. Get it? Because it's 64 times 2, 128. Isn't that something? All we had to show for this was various test demos that showcased 128 Marios interacting with each other and doing various Mario things. As the months and years rolled by with no news ever given of the fabled Super Mario 128 game, it was presumed canceled just like how Super Mario 64 2 was. And with Mario Sunshine releasing and sharing pretty much no resemblance to the 128 demo shown earlier, it was safe to assume that it was canned. However, the tech learned and showcased in the 128 demo is actually what led to Nintendo eventually creating a new IP series, Pikmin, Wet Dry World Skybox. One of the most infamous skyboxes of any video game ever made is the one used for Wet Dry World in Super Mario 64. As you have others in the game like Sunshine and Islands, a spooky forest, maybe a desert, Wet Dry World has its own exclusive skybox, being a photo of an underwater real-life city in the Middle East. More specifically, in Shibam, Yemen, that was edited to look flooded and was then put into Mario 64. I couldn't even begin to explain why. The Lethal Lava Land painting. This is a very simple one and also more of a subjective one, but this refers to the level entrance painting for the stage Lethal Lava Land. Just being this terrifying image of an evil-looking fireball with a face that creeped out and scared a lot of kids playing the game, myself included, because I remember being like 6 years old and I hated going into the basement solely because it meant I'd have to pass this terrifying picture. Cartridge tilting. This isn't really so much of a Mario 64 oddity as you can do this with any Nintendo 64 game, but cartridge tilting is a maybe dangerous trick that you can do. When playing any Nintendo 64 game, slightly moving or tilting the cartridge while the game is running can lead to these charming results. It's not recommended that anyone try this because this could lead to your save files becoming corrupted, but if you have no save files, then go nuts, man, yeah! Super Mario 64 bloopers. Super Mario 64 bloopers by SMG4 is an incredibly nostalgic and famous YouTube series about Mario 64. The videos themselves started as just simple dumb funny meme adventures about Mario interacting with characters, like in the first episode where he just beats the bricks out of Peach. As real life years went by, the series became more massive and multi-lore and introduced a whole bunch of different story arcs that included a huge wave of brand new characters, voice actors, and just actual animation. However, in late 2025, the series itself would come to its official end, putting an end to this 15-year-long series on YouTube. Wario... I accidentally wrote down Wario abortion in the script. The Wario apparition... The Wario apparition is a famous creepypasta that spawned in the early 2020s. It was said that when you go into this hallway in the basement of the castle, there is a chance that Wario's head will appear and chase down the player. This obviously is nothing more than just a simple creepypasta, but it got its start due to actual footage taken from a 1996 Nintendo event that showed Wario in this exact hallway during a presentation. Broken paintings. Broken paintings simply refers to the fact that there are many paintings in the castle that just don't work. This is obviously just a way for Nintendo to save resources by having duplicate paintings, but there is one night sky painting that doesn't appear anywhere else in the game and truly is just in one spot, yet also doesn't work. Honestly, this whole night sky painting could just be its own entry. Star Road. Star Road is an immensely famous ROM hack of Super Mario 64 that introduces new worlds and levels to explore, as well as having 130 stars total to collect. The ROM hack itself was created by the main man Skelix in December of 2011. The Question Block Lego set. In 2021, Lego released a massive question mark block set based on Super Mario 64, as the set itself folds open to reveal several small dioramas of Peach's castle with an interior, Bob-omb Battlefield, Cool Mountain, and Lethal Lava Land. But as of today, the set has unfortunately been retired. So long, Gay Bowser. I refuse to believe that you have never heard of this, so I'll keep this short. So long, Gay Bowser is a joke in the Mario community of what Mario says when you throw Bowser in Mario 64. It's been speculated for years what is actually being said here, as so long Gay Bowser is what everyone hears.
So long, Gay Bowser.
However, it was revealed by Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario himself, that the line is in fact, "So long, King of Bowser."
So long, King Bowser.
The backwards long jump. This is one of the easiest to perform speedrunning tricks in Mario 64. The backwards long jump is a trick that you can pull off when performing long jumps while also moving in the opposite direction. This can cause Mario to glitch and fly large distances, clipping himself through doors and out of bounds areas. This trick works in almost every release of the game and is essential for speedrunning. However, in the newer releases like Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the backwards long jump was patched out, as well as the "So long, Gay Bowser" line mentioned earlier. The sparkling triple jump. After obtaining 120 stars in the game and talking to Yoshi, Mario receives 100 lives. What you do with those lives after 100%ing the game is beyond me. However, you also get a new ability, a sparkling triple jump. Whenever you perform a triple jump, you are now invincible throughout the duration of the jump, complete with a fun little sparkling effect to boot. Royal Raceway. In Mario Kart 64, in the track Royal Raceway, you can actually veer off the track and fully explore a borderline one-for-one recreation of the front of Peach's castle for you to explore. Unfortunately, in all future remakes of Royal Raceway, the courtyard has been blocked off. Cannonless. Cannonless refers to a major moment when speedrunning when you have to perform a trick known as cannonless. The star blast away the wall sees you opening this cannon before blasting a chunk of the wall out and then just going back up to collect the star. But there is a very difficult trick where you can just barely collide with the hitbox of the star to collect it early without having to open the cannon. This trick is a run killer due to its difficulty, but is ultimately worth it for any potential speedruns you may attempt. Bup is a running gag in the Mario 64 community. Popularized by Simple Flips, this sound effect of Toad combined with his zoomed in face texture became a huge meme within the community. The Got Milk commercial. One of the most famous pieces of advertising for Mario 64 was the famous Got Milk commercial that a large number of people remember seeing. People even make remakes of this famous commercial to this day. The commercial is about two kids playing Mario 64 before they leave, and then Mario then leaps out of the TV, chugs some of the milk that they have in the fridge, and then just goes on a violent rampage throughout O Block in Chicago. You just had to be there.
Come on, Mario. Come on, Mario, jump! I give
Want to grow? The calcium in milk helps bones grow.
The blindfold cheater. In 2020, a YouTuber known as Charlie Brown 64 would create a video about Mario 64 that would go viral, where he discussed a fake cheater in the blindfold speedrun category. Blindfolded speedruns are an elite difficulty category of speedruns that only have a few participants even try due to its difficulty, but one runner would attempt to trick the community by uploading a speedrun video where he would obviously be faking. Charlie Brown 64 would create this video as a deep dive into this fake run and point out all of the obvious fakes that this user tried to pull off. The video is a genuine must-watch for its entertainment value alone.
He then commits what is possibly the most obvious and completely shameless move in the entire run.
Fuck, I didn't get that extra life.
I was laughing my ass off when I first saw this. Not only does he somehow know exactly where the 1-up box is, but he also knows exactly what direction the 1-up will go in once it spawns, something completely determined by RNG. Then, after chasing it on a moving platform for a completely arbitrary amount of time, he somehow knows exactly when and where to jump to the left. You don't even need to know anything about Super Mario 64 or blindfolded speedrunning to understand that what just happened is completely bullshit.
So would you be opposed to doing Bowser in the sky and throws while turned around with a blanket over my head? You'll give me $50 if I do it turned around with a blanket over my head? No.
Wet Dry World negative aura. It's pretty common knowledge that Wet Dry World has a very eerie, lonely, and just disturbing aura to it. This goes back to the strange beyond belief skybox of a literal Yemen city, to the simple fact that unlike other worlds in the game where you're exploring a large open area like a grasslands or a desert, Wet Dry World sets you in a giant stone cube in the middle of freaking Yemen, giving the entire vibe and atmosphere of the stage just a strange negative aura to it. This negative feeling is exemplified by a secret hidden abandoned town that can be found under the main part of the map. This just complete desolate ghost town sits under the stage. What happened to the residents and what even is Wet Dry World is completely beyond me. Big Boo unused text. In the data for the game, there was a cut piece of dialogue that was originally meant to be played when you first enter Big Boo's mansion. It reads,
You're mad now. I'll pass right through this wall. Can you do that?
don't become his lunch. In Hazy Maze Cave, there is a sign next to this giant Loch Ness looking monster that is also named Dory, by the way, that warns the player not to become his lunch. What is meant to just be a simple tongue-in-cheek little joke led to the possible theory that it was actually possible to be eaten by the monster, similar to the fish in Tiny Huge Island. However, this is not possible. Blarg. Blarg is an unused and unfinished enemy found in the files of Super Mario 64. Blarg makes several appearances in other Mario games and was supposed to appear in Lethal Lava Land, Bowser in the Fire Sea, and weirdest of all, Mario Over the Rainbow. Somehow this lava monster was meant to make an appearance in this stage. I do not know why. The Big Dud. When you first scale the mountain to reach King Bob-omb, you may notice two large black spheres that roll around in this little area that can crush you. However, after you kill the king and re-enter the level, there are now three, as well as one NPC that states that the king has become nothing more than a big dud now, alluding to the fact that after his death, he became one of these little rolling balls in this pit and is now just a corpse. Fun. The yellow cap switch. In the game, there are three cap switches that you can collect. A red one that unlocks the wing cap, a green one which gives you the metal cap, and a blue one that gives you an invisibility cap. However, discovered in the files of the game was an unused yellow cap switch and box. When looking deeper into the data, it was also discovered that the yellow switches and boxes would give the player a Koopa shell that they could use to ride along the stage. A ghoul medal. In Big Boo's Haunt, there is a line of dialogue that states that if you can make it out alive, you deserve a ghoul medal. A very obvious play on the words of gold medal, but it's theorized that some players thought of this being more literal, and somewhere within the mansion was a physical, literal ghoul medal that you can get. However, this is just simply not true. Jolly Roger Bay Fog. When you first jump into the stage Jolly Roger Bay, there is a large amount of fog that covers the entire stage. It's pretty easy to miss as it is very subtle. However, once you beat the first star, the fog will permanently be gone. There is no way to get this fog back. Even when replaying the first level, the fog will always be gone. The only way to bring the fog back is to begin a whole new save file from scratch. Mip's door clip. In the basement of Peach's castle, there is a trick you can do to clip through doors by grabbing Mips and setting him in front of the door, before diving into him and grabbing him from the other side. This trick is able to allow you to get into the second Bowser fight much earlier than intended, and is just an overall great trick for speedrunning. King Womp becomes the castle. Similar to King Bob-omb becoming a big dud after his boss fight and subsequent death, it's speculated that the same happens to the Womp King, as he says that the reason he's so angry in the first place is that he's been used to build streets and castles, and when he dies, a castle is put there in his place where he once stood, leading to the theory that he became the exact thing that he feared. Dancing flowers. This dancing flower sprite was found in the files of the game that never makes any actual appearance in the game. What makes these flowers so strange and odd is that they are found under the assets of Lethal Lava Land, meaning for some reason in this lava hellscape, there was originally planned to be these cute, happy dancing flowers somewhere in the level, but were ultimately dropped. Now that I really think about it, you have Blarg in a Happy Sunshine stage, and you have dancing flowers in a lava stage. They may have just swapped them, honestly. Volcano boxes. While on the topic of Lethal Lava Land, at the top of the volcano are these strange boxes of stone. These obviously are here for decoration, but some point out the oddity to them and the fact that they never appear anywhere else in the game, as well as just the over idea of who put them there. Definitely people just overthinking, but still fun. E.T. in the pyramid. When inside the pyramid in Shifting Sandland, there is a hieroglyphic texture that can be seen on the walls. These textures very obviously include an E.T. written on them. What this means, I have no idea. But if we want to pop a squat in the thinking chair, it could be a reference to the fact that the pyramids of Giza are usually sometimes associated with aliens. This is an Iceberg about a Mario game. Bugged fire texture. When Mario gets burned, this smoke effect trails behind him. However, it was discovered that this isn't what it's actually supposed to look like. This fire texture actually features an error in the coding for it, and when fixed, we can see how the fire texture was originally supposed to look, which looked like this. The Jolly Roger Bay box. In Jolly Roger Bay, there is a sliding box that can be found on top of the ship. Touching this box will damage you, but the box is glitched to a certain point where the damage you take drastically changes and is seemingly completely random. Sometimes touching the box will simply just take away 1 health, and other times it'll take over 5, potentially damn near one-shotting you just with a simple touch. Big Boo's Haunt Forest. I don't know if you'd call this a conspiracy theory discussion or just an Easter egg, but there is some speculation as to the forest that surrounds Big Boo's haunt. When you enter the stage, you shrink down to pretty much bug size and are suddenly surrounded by a scary looking forest. This is meant to imply the blades of grass that are now full-sized trees, giving the stage an ominous forest look that people speculate as to what the trees could possibly be.
It's grass.
Zelda 64 assets. This is a simple entry that refers to the fact that both the L is real plaque and some of the doors in Mario 64 also make appearances in the Zelda N64 games. Haunted dirt texture. It's speculated that in one of, because I don't know which, these 2 textures in Bob-omb Battlefield, it's possible to make out a scary face. But I don't see a damn thing, so I'm just leaving this one here for your own speculation. Is there a scary face in this? I'll pay anyone to draw it out for me. Rainbow Ride Village. In Super Smash Bros. Melee, the Super Mario 64 stage, Rainbow Ride, is brought over to the game as a stage that you could fight on, but has a drastic graphical overhaul. Featured in this stage is a small village that can be seen far in the background. The village opened up a lot of doors and creepypasta material as to who lives in this town and what do they look like. Removed courses. Mario 64 consists of 15 main worlds to explore with 7 stars each. However, Miyamoto originally intended for there to be 32 in the game, over double. This obviously wasn't possible, so the number was instead cut to 15. One of the biggest examples of cut levels from this game was a cut level simply known as Stage 1, which is a massive unfinished level said to be originally planned for the game. The level is so large that Mario can't even traverse the entire thing without hacks, due to it featuring many impossible jumps. Secret laugh. In Big Boo's Haunt, there is an almost slim to none chance that a secret hidden laugh will play in the background. The sound itself is just a standard boo laugh, but heavily slowed down. Here is some footage discovered by the streamer AGR4.
But still. Whoa, what the fuck? Yo, what? Did anyone just hear that? Did anyone just hear that? There's not supposed to be a laugh there. What in the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Who just heard that?
The Bowser painting. When approaching this painting of Bowser in the castle, the floor opens up before you have the chance to get close. This led to the theory of what is actually inside of the Bowser painting if you did manage to get close enough. As this is impossible, it doesn't stop people from speculating as to what could possibly be behind this painting. Hazy Maze Cave is a sewer. Lads, I want you all to listen up and listen closely. This is a real theory. I also want to apologize in advance. This image circulated online as a possible theory that the stage Hazy Maze Cave is actually a sewer or a septic system of the castle. The evidence is that the entrance to Hazy Maze Cave itself is accompanied with pipes scattered all along the walls, and that the toxic gas in the maze itself is nothing more than Peach's collected farts. And the Rolling Rocks is a combination of both Bowser's and Peach's dookie. I'm going to move on now. The Bowser Room. The Bowser Room is an internet hoax of a secret room found somewhere in the castle where you can look out and see Bowser. But if you're at all into Mario 64 hoaxes and mysteries, then you would already know that this Bowser Room picture is actually created by Chris O'Neill of Oni Plays, as he talks about it in one of his Let's Play videos.
Did you see my Crash Bandicoot 3D render I did when I was 13?
Well, I saw your fake Mario 64 hoax where he was just in a room looking out.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
How did you see that?
You sent it to me.
When?
You sent it to me like a year ago.
Whoa!
He's just looking through the window with Bowser's at the window.
I printed that out and I brought it to school and I said, "Look, it's real." I can't believe I sent you that. Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, because I lost it.
It's just a tiny gray room.
Yeah, it's just no point. I was like, I found this room where you can see Bowser.
There's nothing there. This is all he can do.
I made this fake fucking screenshot and I was like, yeah, they'll all believe me now.
You thought you were real sneaky.
Yeah.
Metal Mario texture. Twitter user by the name of Ecumber would make a very interesting discovery. When exploring the Silicon graphics software, which is the graphics software that helped create all of these official renders of Mario as well as the actual in-game box art, this image was discovered. And when you take the image, flip it, and squish it down a little bit, it becomes the exact texture used for Metal Mario. Impossible Coin. This is an extremely simple one, but if you go to this exact spot in Tiny Huge Island before then going into the first-person mode, you can glitch the camera into this wall, where you can then reveal a secret unobtainable coin that is just barely out of reach of the player underground. Peach is behind the stained glass. This theory states that while Peach is trapped within the castle, it means this very literally, as Peach is trapped within the two sides of the stained glass window throughout the game. By looking at the windows themselves, you may notice that between each pane of glass is a large gap in the wall. This is where Peach is said to be. This is also additionally backed up due to when she is eventually freed, she materializes in front of said glass window. Bowser broke the door. Bowser broke the door is a simple, small idea that was formed when looking at the castle's courtyard, as the back door of the castle is this really cheap, crappy wooden door, while every other door in the castle is this pristine and nice castle door, as well as the fact that the door itself is surrounded by what looks like makeshift bricks, leading to the theory that this is how Bowser originally entered the castle. He destroyed the door. Scary face in the ending. When you complete the game, you are awarded with this screen that shows the cake that Peach bakes for Mario as a thank you for everything that he's been through. But some have noticed that in the background of this image is a disturbing smiling face. Nobody knows what this is or who it's meant to represent or why it's even here in the first place, with some theorizing that this is actually Yoshi, but even then that's still all just speculation. The $1.5 million copy. A pristine copy of Super Mario 64 once sold online for $1.5 million. This is due to this specific copy of the game itself never going on sale, because it was the first print ever made of the game. It is literally a perfect copy of Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 is a movie. In order to understand this theory, you have to know the bigger theory that it derives from. There is an idea that every single Mario game is fake and played by actors. The theory states that the original Super Mario Bros. Game for the NES was the only actual single adventure that Mario ever went on. In Mario Bros. 2, the ending reveals that that game was all said to be a dream. More so that he's dreaming about going on his next big adventure because of the real one that he had. We then go to Mario Bros. 3, which was given a very large stage aesthetic, with curtains rising and actual platforms themselves being bolted together as if they were stage props. Meaning that Mario Bros. 3 is a recreation slash original story made by Mario about him going on another big quest. Which leads us to Super Mario 64, where a Lakitu is following you the entire time with a camera, leading to the theory that everything that happens in Mario 64 is also a reenactment being filmed for a TV show or movie based on Mario. Bowser is watching Mario. A second idea as to the true reason for the Lakitu camera thing is that the game is actually from the perspective of Bowser. There isn't really much of a logical reason that Lakitu, a enemy and a minion of Bowser, would be following Mario, except to provide Bowser with a live feed of the events. This is how Bowser is actively able to talk to Mario as he progresses, and why when you die, Bowser laughs, because he's watching it. It's that really you? In Mario 64, there is a lot of skippable dialogue, and the game does a pretty good job at keeping away any typos and misspellings, except for one moment in the entire game when talking to Yoshi, he can be seen saying, "Mario, it's that really you?" Moto's Man. Moto's Man is an unused enemy found within the files of the game. He actually seems to be borderline fully completed, as his goal is to chase down Mario before picking him up and throwing him. Pretty identical to the Chuckya enemies. Moto's Man's models and animation can all be found within the game's code. Gay Baby Jail. I'm just letting this little title card just stay on there for a little bit. Let you process it in your mind. Very nice. How are we all doing, by the way? Good weekend? You should also subscribe for more Iceberg charts. Gay Baby Jail refers to an infamous moment where Mario speedrunner Simple Flips was playing the Star Road ROM hack, where he gets trapped in this piece of geometry, prompting his entire chat to spam over and over, "Gay Baby Jail."
Wait. Oh. I know you didn't just softlock me again. That would be a fucked up thing to do to somebody who's just started playing the game. I know this didn't just happen again. I'm literally in a cage, despite all my rage. How did I get in here? Gay Baby Joe.
Jumping fish. Similar to the bridge hanging in Bob-omb Battlefield, I'm not sure if this is an intentional Easter egg or a simple glitch, but when standing in any shallow water in the game and repeatedly jumping, there is a very small chance for a small little fish to burst out of the water on a few of said jumps. TikTok clock upwarp. Streamer Dota Teabag was playing the stage. Had the mind of a 10-year-old. Streamer Dota Teabag was playing the stage TikTok clock when he accidentally glitched the game and teleported high up in the level.
I do that all the time.
Oh, dude. What the? What the?
Did you get invisible walls?
What?
Please say you got invisible.
No, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen, though.
Dota was not able to recreate this glitch, nor was anyone else, prompting YouTuber Pan and Koic to go so far to set up a $1,000 prize bounty to anyone who is able to recreate this glitch on command seen in Dota streams. Slide mistexture. In the Japanese version of the game, this sliver of the wall is missing, as this actual piece of wall in question can be found in the slide room. Very cool. Very neat. Bowser's Dank Rave. Bowser's Dank Rave is an incredibly funny and just dumb as rocks meme texture pack for Mario 64 that changes the way the game looks, as well as changing out Mario for Rosalina. Also, the image to boot up the game looked like this. Isn't that fun? Super Mario 63. Super Mario 63 is one of the best Flash games ever made, as it is an original Mario adventure taking the likeness and mechanics of Mario 64 Sunshine and Galaxy by putting it all into a 2D side-scroller format. The game itself was made in 2009 by Flash developer this Donnie. The unused spring item. Found in the files of the game was this unused spring item that works identically to the trampoline springs in the 2D Mario games. The spring itself was only said to be used in 2 of the cap stages in the game, duplicating Mario's hat. This is an extremely easy to pull off glitch that I, for some reason, don't really actually see almost anyone bring up. In Snowman's Land, when you lose your hat, before picking it up, if you instead walk over to this secret teleport spot, then then return to the hat, it will have magically doubled and duplicate itself. You can repeat this over and over and over again to have dozens of hats spawn on the ground. But when you do eventually decide to pick it up, Mario just puts on a single hat like nothing happened. I tried it myself to see what would happen, and instead Mario just walked around grabbing his hat. So I implore you to check it out yourself, because it seems like different stuff can happen depending on what you do. M25 lives. If you for some reason manage to collect 1,000 coins in a single level, the game will become glitched and will replace Mario's live counter with an M25. What this means is that the M actually means negative, and that you now have negative 25 lives. If you manage to collect 25 1-ups, your lives counter will be reset back to 0. Small Chill Bully. The Small Chill Bully is an unused enemy in the game. It's simply just the big pseudo-boss enemy that you fight in Snowman's Land, but was obviously intended to have many other smaller variants running around the course. Hopper. Similar to the Small Chill Bully, the Hopper enemy is yet another unfinished and unused enemy in the game. This large grasshopper bug was intended to be in Snowman's Land for some strange reason. It's believed that the Hopper enemy was instead replaced with the Coin Coffer, the 120 penguin race. When you collect 120 stars in the game, there actually is a secret bonus objective for you to try out: the rematch with the Big Penguin in Cool Cool Mountain. When you collect 120 stars and return to the Big Penguin, he will become much larger, making the race with him have a small difficulty boost due to him being so large that it's easier to be pushed off of the slide. Blizzard. The Blizzard is an unused aesthetic effect that was found in the game. All it does is drastically speed up the snow falling animation and does not change anything about the actual gameplay. The Diving Penguin. Last on this layer, I have a very cute just little Easter egg for you. When standing next to the baby penguin, if you dive next to him, the penguin will adorably mimic you and also do a dive every time that you do. Lethal Lava Trouble. Going back to the question mark block Lego set mentioned earlier, there is actually a mistake on Lego's end when looking at the set's description. Where it states what levels from Mario 64 are included in the dioramas, it incorrectly names Lethal Lava Land as Lethal Lava Trouble, the Sombrero build. This screenshot, also known as Bob-omb Village, is said to be the first ever earliest version of Mario 64, with this test dummy Sombrero character in the forefront.
Some say that the Sombrero Man haunts the very cartridge, awaiting the day he may finally eclipse Mario's untouchable reputation.
Transforming butterflies. In Tiny Huge Island, you may come across some butterflies, but what you may not know, though, is that if you attack and kick some of these butterflies, they can either turn into 1-ups or bombs that you'll need to promptly avoid. The Boo Key. The Boo Key is an unused item in the game. It's not known at all what the Boo Key was going to be used for, as it was also discovered that a red, blue, yellow, and green version all appear within the game's data. Tiny Huge Island Nightmare. This next entry sounds straight out of a creepypasta. In December of 2018, YouTuber SwankyBox was playing Mario 64 for a coin challenge video. Upon arriving to Tiny Huge Island, though, the game would glitch in a genuinely scary way. The game would begin to glitch intensely as the music was completely silent, the water was invisible, and the level itself flickered into a black void. And scariest of all, Mario just would randomly lose all of his textures. When SwankyBox brought this up to Simple Flips, he stated that he's also seen Tiny Huge Island glitch out, but he had very different results. Cabin Proprietor. In Cool Cool Mountain, there is an implied character who is never shown and lives inside of the cabin on top of the mountain, due to him leaving this note behind for Mario where he signs his name as the Cabin Proprietor. Song of Storms reference. Going back to the Starry Night painting from before, Zelda fans may actually have noticed that looking at the stars in which are displayed in the painting itself, these are in the exact order of the Song of Storms from Zelda Ocarina of Time. Mario pictures in Zelda. In The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, by looking in this window, you can see various Mario 64 themed images of Mario characters. The Donkey Kong theme. A small unknown Easter egg and oddity about the beginning music when you first boot up the game is that the melody itself seems to be taken directly from the Donkey Kong arcade game. Once you tweak the music itself and change the pitch and speed, it sounds exactly the same. The pyramid cutscene. For some unknown reason, there is a small quick cutscene that was removed from the game during the mission in Shifting Sandland atop the 4 pillars. When you eventually do the task of standing on top of the 4 pillars, the tip of the pyramid then blows up, revealing a new opening. However, before the game was released, there was intended to be a small cutscene that plays here that focuses directly on the pyramid as it blows up. It's unknown why it was removed. Bob-omb Battlefield water. You may notice on the lowest level of Bob-omb Battlefield this large open area that also goes and extends under the bridge. Well, in early versions of the level itself was intended to be filled with a river of water in this section. However, it would then be removed due to the current of said river being way too hard to navigate for somebody who just started playing, since this is the first level in the game, so the water was drained. Employee's face and files. In the Shindu version of Super Mario 64, these 3 images of an employee's face were discovered buried deep within the files. Nobody knows why this is here. Mexican theme park. In the mid-90s, Reino Adventura would hold their own officially licensed Mario 64 attraction at their theme park. The attraction itself was a walkthrough attraction and had 2 main routes, Peach's Castle and the House of Mario. Many pictures of this attraction can be found today, and it all looks extremely cursed and just liminal as hell. Hazy Maze Cave is a jail. If you don't like the poop filter theory, then maybe this one will be a bit more believable. But there is an additional theory that Hazy Maze Cave is a jail or a dungeon used to hold or torture prisoners. Let me explain. So by going deep under the ground, you'll find the metal cap room. This metal cap room itself holds another small side room, which are presumed to be jail bars. Right outside of this room is a giant sea monster from before, perhaps acting as some type of guard. The Hazy Maze itself is said to exist as a way to trap, confuse, or maybe even kill any prisoners who try to escape, given the toxic gas and the maze-like structure behind it all. This also explains just the overall dirty and creepy atmosphere of Hazy Maze Cave. You aren't meant to enjoy being here. Nausea animations. Found within the game's code were these 2 unused animations that, when translated to English, are called the nausea animations. It's most likely that these animations would trigger during moments like in the aforementioned toxic maze. Floating ship. High above the sky in Jolly Roger Bay is actually an entire pirate ship that is completely hidden from view during the first star of the level. This is believed to be due to the ship itself being at the bottom of the trench. So the one that eventually sits on the water is still there and is just hidden from view until it's ready to be spawned in. The giant red F. On the original physical N64 copy of Mario 64, going to this corner of the room for Cool Mountain, going into first person mode and then glitching the camera behind the wall reveals a giant red F floating in the void. How about that? Just a giant F, steady chillin', far out of bounds. Invisible arrow sign. During this section of the slide in Tall Mountain, exists a tiny, small, invisible hitbox above this doorway. When looking at early beta footage of this exact location, we can see that there was originally an arrow sign put there. However, in the final game, the sign itself is removed, but the hitbox of the sign still remains. Ghost in Cool Mountain Skybox. This one is genuinely absurd, and I originally wasn't even going to include it, but how could I not include it when it is just this? It's said that in the skybox of Cool Mountain lies a ghostly face hidden somewhere within the image. Still can't find it? Well, apparently, this is it. The ghost of the Cool Mountain Skybox. Censored theory. This entry goes back to the OG Mario 64 iceberg chart that I mentioned in the intro of the video, but what has been a source of a few small discussions is that actually right here, one of the entries on the iceberg was mysteriously blacked out. What this entry was and why it was censored last second before being posted, we will never know. The file erase crash. Alright lads, so this is an entry that I've seen a lot of people discuss and talk about, but whenever I try it myself, I can't get it to work at all how people say it does, but everybody and their mom says that this works. So once again, I kind of encourage you to try this one yourself because I can't get it to work and I'm doing everything I'm told. It's said that when you delete a save file in Mario 64 that already has no information on it along with these specific steps, it will then cause the game to crash. I tried this on the original N64 and on Mario 3D All-Stars, and I just simply cannot get this to happen. Maybe this is an exclusive problem for emulators, or I'm just really doing it wrong. I have no idea. So if you have any info on this one, please let me know in the comments. Monkey time stop. In Tall Tall Mountain, there is a monkey NPC that tries to take your hat. When the monkey eventually does take your hat and you catch him, the game pauses itself so that you can both have a quick dialogue exchange. But if you catch the monkey with a dive move into the water, it will trigger the pause of the dialogue cutscene, but not the dialogue itself, causing the entire level to be glitched and stuck with time frozen. Commentary on the top 10 scariest things found in Super Mario 64. I am about to awaken such a buried and forgotten memory with so many people watching this. In the very early days of YouTube, a small YouTuber would upload a video entitled The Top 10 Scariest Things in Mario 64. Take a look.
Hey, what's up you guys? Dan Swimmer here. So as you guys all know, I'm currently doing a Let's Play of Super Mario 64. Now this is a really happy, colorful game, but you'd be surprised at how much scary shit there is in this game. So I've decided to make a top 10 scariest things in Super Mario 64.
The video itself is extremely niche and nostalgic, but what makes it so heartwarming is just the obvious fact that the video itself was made by like a 12 or 13-year-old, so it's filled with a lot of that type of lingo and slang.
Jizz muffin.
The video, however, would be entirely removed off of YouTube, as well as the creator's channel itself that I could not find. The only proof we have of this lost video even existing is on another just as equally strange and bizarre commentary of the video. In 2012, a YouTuber by the name of AwesomeMartin123 would make a commentary on this lost Mario 64 top 10 scariest things list, where he would essentially just re-upload the video, but insert a bunch of JPEGs of tails with his commentary on top of it. This entire case is one of the most bizarre and strangest oddities with Super Mario 64, where this infamous lost video is only watchable in between pictures of tails and pure silence.
Now with Super Mario 64, there is a lot of huge shit trying to squash you. Alright, we got womps, thwomps, and these weird-ass gray cylinders from inside the pyramid. But the scariest of all, definitely the Tox blocks. Or at least I'm pretty sure that's what they're called. They're those weird-ass rotating cubes from Shifting Sandland with the creepy graffiti on their face. Yeah, those.
B3313. B3313 is a horror mod pack for Super Mario 64. The game itself starts like any other ROM hack like Star Road or Last Impact, before the castle itself becomes a labyrinth of corridors, nightmares, and overall just scary imagery. If you've ever seen this faceless peach, that's the one. Drip Drip Cave. Drip Drip Cave is a supposedly lost level in the game. The way to access Drip Drip Cave is via this blocked off route in Dire Dire Docks during the first star. Drip Drip Cave is said to have a lot of similarities to Jolly Roger Bay, but was given a large purple filter over it, and features many boos, as the stage is a haunted shipwreck themed level. Waterfall sounds. This one actually pisses me off a little bit. So I was going to have this entry in layer 3 just because of how common and talked about it was, but whenever I tested it myself, I couldn't see or hear anything, and thus I moved it down to the bottom layer. It said that when you go to the waterfall in the castle's front yard and listen extremely closely, you can hear large footstep sounds or a type of rhythmic metal clanging. I went to go try this myself, and I don't hear a single thing. So I'm honestly not sure if this is a hoax that I've fallen for, or if I just really can't hear it. If you have a copy of Mario 64 in any way, please check this out and let me know as well. Moto's Factory. Moto's Factory is a standalone ROM hack level based around B3313. The level itself has a very creepy atmosphere and is based entirely off of the scrapped real Motos Man enemy mentioned earlier. Tall Tall Mountain 1-Up. For some unbelievable reason, when you enter the slide of Tall Tall Mountain and run into the 4 corners, a 1-Up will spawn. How you're supposed to just know this is beyond me. This is what I live for. Floor 2B. This screenshot would surface online of a rumored second basement that was discovered in Peach's castle. Floor 2B was said to only be included in some copies of the game, and included a whole new roster of levels to explore. These being Boiling Hot Basalt, a lethal lava land type stage with many blarg enemies in it. Dry Bones Desert, a second desert level said to have one screenshot taken taken from it, Toxic Cavern, a level said to be a mix of the Hazy Maze Cave and Big Boo's Haunt, as well as a 4th Bowser fight level known as Bowser in the Randomized Realm, which is said to also have one screenshot of that level. As well as this random room, also located on floor 2B, that's just filled with various blocks. The 4th floor. Similar to floor 2B, there is yet another supposedly hidden 4th floor of the castle. The 4th floor is said to be located where the top tower of the castle is, which is much smaller in scale. A tiny area with nothing in it other than Boos running around, as well as a strange toad shrine. The toad shrine is said to be placed on the 4th floor, but has no obvious purpose or even what the shrine itself is meant to represent or portray. This shrine of Toad is said to be one of the only things that can be found on the 4th floor, the UFO. There is an unbelievably obscure and lost urban legend with Mario 64. More specifically, Jolly Roger Bay. In 2013, a video showcasing a UFO found in Jolly Roger Bay was uploaded to YouTube. The video itself, however, would go entirely lost, and with no way of getting it back, the Jolly Roger Bay UFO faded into major amounts of obscurity, until it was actually rediscovered. Not the video itself, that's still lost, but the UFO itself was seen. The Jolly Roger Bay UFO looks like this. After completing very specific steps, this little white disc shape can be seen floating and flickering in the air inside of the ship. Kellogg's Penguins. In 1996, a limited time promotion featuring Mario 64 appeared on some Kellogg cereals. What made it interesting, however, was the penguins used on the box having a design that is not what the penguins look like in the actual game. The pure red background and the creepy face of these penguins led to this image's infamy online. The brain diagram. Okay, lads, this one is obscenely complicated, and it has a lot of moving parts, so I'll try my hardest to keep my description as blunt and easy to understand as possible, but there's way more to this than I'm actually describing here, so this is just kind of like a TLDR sum up of it all. Wet Dry World is said to not only have many similarities to the human brain, but also involving a supposedly deleted and a missing texture that was also meant to be found here. It's speculated that the layout of Wet Dry World is meant to represent a brain. Not in terms of like literal shape, but in just how the level functions and operates. It is said to mirror a human brain weirdly very well. The stage is filled with these activator water diamonds that change the output of the water level found in the stage. These are believed to represent nodes for neural networks, with the water itself representing just information. Stay with me. The level itself is also filled with various enemies that throw Mario around, either throwing him up or down depending on what level he's on. These dudes are also meant to represent the transporting of information in the brain and also just brain energy as a whole, i.e. the player himself meant to representing the energy flowing around the brain. So with all of these moving parts and what each one of them represent leads to the theory that the stage moves and operates exactly like how a human brain does. And the kicker of it all is this texture of a zoomed in brain that was said to be in the files of this exact stage before being removed right before launch.